Hi, so looking at CAT 2024 DILR sets, this is second slot question, second set. So look at the way they approach and try to solve, because kind of approach be similar. The way you approach a sum in CAT, it will help you to solve further sums in the CAT and the actual exam. Anyway, let's look at it. So key is to first put the data properly. Now you have a paragraph which is there, try to put the data properly. You need to read it once and being able to put. The moment you read it 2 or 3 times, it is wastage of time. Yeah, sometimes you have to read it twice, but as far as possible, try to do one reading and finish it off. So you have 8 gymnasts, 1 to 8, who underwent training camp. 3 coaches. Each coach trained at least 2 players. So basically, we have to classify them into 3 X, Y, and Z, the players. Yuki trained only even number of players, so write it down. You don't have to read it again, so you write it down. While Zara trained only odd, so only odd numbered players. Right? After the camp, the coaches evaluated the players and gave integer rating to the respective players trained by them, 1 to 7. 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest. Zena trained more number of players than Yuki. What is possible? So it can be 3, 2, and 3. That's possible. So I can have 3 players trained by Yuki, 2 players by this one, and 3 here. That's one possibility. I cannot have 4, 3, okay, because 4, 3 will 7 and Z will have 1, because we said each one trains at least 1 player. But there is also possibility of 4, 2. If I have 4 players of Zena, 2 players of Yuki, then there will be 2 players for Z, X, Y, Z. This is possible, 2 cases possible. So I'm just noting it down. Technically, you can come to know over a period of time how many players are there, but I think this you can note it down if possible. Player 1 and 4 are trained by the same coach, so it has to be X, because odd and even number both to be trained by same coach has to be X, because Y trains only even and Z trains only odd, so therefore X. Right? While the coaches who train player 2, player 3, player 5 will be different. So among this, player 2 can be only with Y, because Y trains only even numbered players. Player 3 and 5 can be either of them. So player 3 and player 5 can be either Z or can be X. Right? It can go either way. So technically, if you look at it, player 3 and 5 can go with X and Z. I'm just looking at it. That means X already has 2 odd numbered players. It has to have 2 even numbered players, because there are 4 even numbered players. 2 are trained by Y. So 2 has to be trained by X. So X is training 4 players, which means Z is training 2 players. Okay. Again, not necessary. You can interpret this later on. I just got it. Therefore, I just said, let me just classify it as 4, 2, 2. As and when you get some idea, go ahead with it. But go systematically, one after the other. Player 5 and 7 were trained by the same coach. So same coach, it can't be X, because if it is trained by X, there will be 5 players with X, because there should be 2 even numbered players and then 3, P1, P3, P5, not possible. So P5 and P7 has to be trained by Z. If P5 is trained out here, P3 will be trained by X. So P3, P5, because P3 and P5 are different coaches. And the same rating points. So they have the same rating points. All the other players got unique rating, different. The average of rating of all was 4. Remember the 8 players? So 8 into 4, 32. All was 4. Now assuming 7 players have got different rating, 1 to 7. So it becomes, total rating becomes 7 into 8 upon 2, which becomes 28. Which means the extra player has got 4. That means the 2 people who got the same rating have to have 4 rating, which is player 5 and player 7 would have 4 rating. Both have got same. So player 5 and player 7 would have got 4 rating. Right? Then the player 2 got the highest rating. So player 2 should be 8. And the average rating of all the players trained by Yuki is twice that of players trained by Zena and 2 more than players trained by Zara. Zara's average is 4, because only 2 players, both have got 4 rating. Yuki has to be 2 more than that, so his average is 6. Right. So automatically Zena will be, average will be so if you look at Y is twice of Zena, so Zena will be, average will be 3. 3, 6, 4. Then players 4 rating was double of player 8. Player 4 was double of player 8, but less than player 5. Now player 5 I know is 4 given to you. So player 4 is double, but still less than player 8. So it has to be 2 and 1. That's the only possibility. So player 4 has got a rating of 2. Player 8 has got 1. Where will player 8 go? Now I can make out that average here is 6 for Y, and there are only 2 players. So the second player should have got a rating, so not 8, 7. 7 is the highest, my mistake. So the second player should have got a rating of 5. And that 5 cannot be player 4 or player 8. So player 8 has to be with X with a rating of 1. So player 6 will be with Y with player rating of 5. Because player 8 has got rating of 1, can't be with Y, so it has to be with X. Because the average here is 6, 1, 7, the other will be 5. So automatically you get this. Coming here, the total average is 3, 4 players, 12. 12, we already got 2 and 1, 3, 2 players, so remaining 2 will be 9. If you look at what is left is 6 and 3. So one player must have got 6 rating, other player must have got 3 rating. Now we have used all the data. I don't have any more data with me. I've read all the conditions, read all the data, I've got the value and put the data. So it cannot do anything else. So I'll go directly with the questions. What best can be concluded about number of players coached by Zara? 2, exactly 2. To understand, once you use all the data, you don't have to worry about more. If you have not used some data, you have to go back and try to see how the data has to be used. It's very important to know which data you have not used. I've used all the data, that's fine. What was the rating of player 7, which is 4, right? What was the rating of player 6, which is 5, right? How many players the rating can be determined with certainty? Out of 8 players, I can't find for P1 and P3. Remaining 6 players I can find out. So 6. Who were the players trained by Zena? For P1, P3, P4 and P8, which is third option. So you get all the answers. The key is one reading, try to put the data, try to interpret and try to get the answer. You first put all the data and then interpret it, or as in when you read, if you find something interesting which you can interpret and try to solve. That helps. Thank you.